Welcome to Tarmac. I'm Dave.
I'm Matthew, and today we are kicking about a bit of dust in the Renault Duster.
That's right, it's a French-Romanian love child that's big on space and big on fuel economy. Let's take a look at this. Okay, so the Duster nameplate has got a bit of a checkered past. Back in the 80s it was on the side of, or actually on the badge of an off-roader, so it was, you know, pretty good off-road from there. And then 2010 it really moved into an SUV combined with French Renault and also Dacia or whatever you want to call it, Duster. This is the new model. Let's take a look around this. Overseas it's really marketed as a Dacia Duster. Here in New Zealand, also South Africa, South America, it comes with this nice big diamond, so it's a Renault. So it's taking on its sort of parent company heritage. There you go. Looking around, this grille here, a little bit of chrome across the front, and really you can't miss this diamond. It really does stand out. Around here it's got this C-shaped signature DRLs, plenty of light coming through the front, and also look how tall it is off the front here. So actually the ground clearance around here is 210 millimeters, so it's actually quite tall, quite high. But the rest of it, a little bit of protective plastics around here, and there is plenty of hard plastics around. We'll go into that, but overall it's, it's not a bad front. Let's take a look down the side. At around 5.6 meters long, it actually carries its design really well. There's plenty of aggression, plenty of strong character lines around here, certainly around the wheel arches, front and rear, so quite extended, strong belt lines, strong shoulder lines. There's quite a lot going on there. There's these big chunks of added plastic. I guess it's for protection. It certainly doesn't offer any sort of flow through or anything like that, but I don't know, it's got a uniqueness, maybe a quirkiness about it. 16-inch feet with pretty small brake calipers and small brake pads, and the rear has got drums, so they've cut a few corners here and there, but it's overall is quite pretty good. Again, plenty of plastic and protection around the side, and these door handles, they're a bit flimsy, but what do you expect for this? Nice big chunky roof rails, look at that, nice and solid, and also you feel it only weighs about 1.2 tons, so it's, if I was to go to the gym, I reckon I could probably lift this up. Let's have a look around the rear. There's plenty of dust on this Duster, but thankfully it's got a rear window wiper here to get rid of some of that, and obviously some of the rain. More Renault diamonds, a little bit more chrome here, and plenty of black plastic again down here for protection. 3-dimensional tail lights with a little nice cross in there, almost Swiss-like actually, which is quite cool. And this tailgate opens up to, mind your chin, 475 litres of boot space, so actually quite a lot. Let's take a look under the bonnet. Under here is a 1.6 litre naturally aspirated engine connected to a CVT gearbox, which doesn't sound great, but what it offers is 84 kilowatts of power, 156 newton meters of torque. They're not massive numbers, but then bear in mind this is only a vehicle that weighs 1.2 tons, so there's plenty going on from there. The other thing is 6.9 litres per 100 kilometers, so it's actually very fuel efficient. And although it's wearing this Renault Diamond up front, which is not really a byword for reliability, this actually comes with a 30,000 kilometer service interval, or 1 year, so whichever comes first. So unless you're doing, I don't know, 30,000 a year, this is basically a year's service, which is alright. Speaking of things that are unreliable and tend to break down a lot, Matthew's inside and he'll show you what's going on.
Yes, my body is not in tip-top shape right now, as I hurt my back pretty badly earlier in the week, but it's frankly all the better that we have the Duster this weekend, because getting into it is so easy because of that raised height that it has. And then these seats, sure they're cloth and I guess fairly basic in terms of the design, but they're really soft and actually, you know, you sink into them pretty well. There's quite a bit of foam in there, so another nice touch. Remember, when you look at the dashboard, that actually this car underneath is a Dacia, and Dacia aim to bring affordable cars to the people of Romania, and definitely affordability is the theme that comes through here. Sure, there's a bit of hard plastics on the dashboard and everything, but the fact is that it's made for markets where there is a need to be for the car to be rugged. You know, roads with potholes or going off-road, stuff like that. The interior of this Duster should handle that just fine, and as we'll show you, it does actually soak up the bumps pretty well later on. Everything in here does feel a little bit outdated, but again, that's something that Dacia specialize in, and you know, that helps them keep their cars, you know, this affordable. And Renault certainly, you know, have used that to their advantage to bring this car to a market that, you know, they don't have cars in this market currently. Apart from that, storage spaces are good, plenty in the doors. There's a little spot on the dashboard up here for a phone possibly. Good sized glove box with actually an additional chewing gum holder if you like. There's cup holder in the middle there. There's a really weird cup holder in the middle here that doesn't actually hold a cup. Actually, I think it might just hold a shot glass for... Don't drink and drive though, never mind. There's plenty of space in the middle here for a phone as well, and one of the biggest phones in the industry will actually fit in the slot. Couple of cup holders in the middle there, and you know, all these practicalities, they have thought this through, so you know, there's all of that. You also get air conditioning here, 3 dials with a little bit of chrome finish on them, looks quite nice, and part of the new 2021 updates, this new infotainment screen over here. Simple to use and, you know, basic in its layout, but there's nothing wrong with simplicity, right? The instrument cluster in front of me, well, it's simply laid out and analog, but again, there's nothing wrong with that, and it's how Renault and Dacia can keep this car affordable. It does have cruise control, and it does actually monitor the fuel system in the front, and it's sort of got a few of these modern features here and there. There's some buttons on the steering wheel as well, and the steering wheel actually feels really nice to hold. It's covered in a sort of fake leather, and it feels very Renault if you like. That badge, of course, is a dead giveaway. The Duster also has wireless connectivity for your phone. The unit is just down here underneath your right stalk. Again, it's another part that does feel a little bit outdated, but you can't fault these things because Dacia's ethos is to bring cars to, you know, everybody basically, and there's something to be said for that. And Renault certainly, you know, have brought this car to so many parts of the world, and the kind of SUV that this is, it's pretty good for the price. And even better is the space at the back, so let's hop in and take a look. Space in the rear of the Duster is actually really good. This seat is pushed as far back as it can go, and my knees are up against it, but remember there's quite a bit of foam in here, so you know, I can go further into it if I like. It's one of those SUVs where you can clearly see 3 adults can sit across the back here, because this middle seat is actually really wide and there's not much of a transmission tunnel down there, so really works to the Duster's advantage. In terms of headroom, you've got plenty over here. As you can see, I'm just under 6 foot and I've got about 2 hands worth of headroom there. Another nice feature they've put in is a little bit of privacy glass. Window tint certainly helps on a hot day like today. All these things are creature comforts if you like, but one thing where the Duster stands out it's in its drive and the ability to go over rough roads. So let's take it for a spin and see that in action.
With a history that goes so far back and basically with off-road routes, you'd expect this car to go very well on the bumpy roads that New Zealand has, and that includes the tarmacked ones as well as these non-tarmacked ones, and it really does. The suspension is
is probably one of the standouts of this vehicle. It really does handle the bumps and lumps really smoothly. I'm very impressed with the ride itself, and also the fuel economy. Both of those things, as I said on the outset, are really good standouts for a 1.6 litre and for such a, I guess, normal compact SUV.
That's the big talking point on the Duster, is that the markets that it's been made for and it's sold in all have, you know, that one thing in common of rougher roads. So in rural New Zealand, you know, we have a lot of these unpaved roads around here, and the Duster does really well on them.
Matthew has brought up a few times about the fact of it being good value for money. New Zealand is possibly a little bit different in the rest of the world, where once you've added in transport costs and also the brand and also the, well, other taxes, I guess, it does nudge up. I mean, it's around the 30 grand mark for this, 27 to 30, which is nudging up in this size of vehicle. Not saying it's not a good vehicle for, you know, for its purpose, but I would have expected it to be a little bit more mid-20s or slightly below, particularly when you get to some of these hard plastics that are around.
Those rugged plastics are exactly what makes the Renault Duster so good on these sort of rough roads, is because everything is, you know, holds together well despite being shaken up constantly on gravel and all that stuff. And while, you know, it does miss a bit of damping in the cabin, you do get those big sidewalls on the tires to absorb all the impact from the ground. You get a little bit of soft stuff up here just to absorb, you know, all those exterior noises and stuff like that.
Driver comfort, I'm actually impressed. Again, as Matthew points out, the seats are comfortable, they're very pliable, not offering too much side bolstering for if you were going to throw it around the corners, but alright. Distance to steering wheel good, and also once you get used to the where everything is, I mean the cruise control buttons and speed limiters are down by the handbrake. There are some bizarre, quirky points to this vehicle. The power itself is not massive by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, it's great around town, and once you finally get going, it's all right. The delivery, there's quite a lot of soft spots, in my opinion, and you're going to get that. I mean, it's not a big lover of hills, so there's a variety of things that this 76 kilowatts is not going to do, but tootling around, getting you from A to B, and also even on the back roads here, I'm all right with it. It's not, you're not going to go racing in this vehicle, but then you're not going to anyway.
For most of the time, that 7-speed CVT gearbox actually does an okay job of managing the power of this car, but it's only on the hard acceleration where it actually, you know, really stresses the gearbox out. But what's really interesting about it is that CVTs don't normally have gears, so the manual mode that you go into has a sort of 7-speed step system, which gives you the effect that you're changing gears, but like, because there's not actually any gears, it's sort of, yeah, it's more for driver engagement, if you like.
And let's face it, perception is reality, so if you feel like you're changing gears, you are. It's great. So there you have it, the Dacia Renault Duster. It's rugged, it's got a great ground clearance, so you know, sleeping policemen or rough roads is fine. It's not the most up to date as far as tech goes. It's quirky. There's some stuff you're gonna love, stuff you're gonna hate, but isn't that just French? I don't mind it, actually.
It's funny because it's one of those cars that definitely splits opinions, which is quite a rare thing these days for a car to have this sort of character.
Yeah, it's got more character than us, I guess. There you go. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe. There will be something coming up very soon that's possibly more racy, but who knows. See you next time.